What is going on, Movie Meals? We saw a bunch of movies. Go watch the Aladdin review if you want the explanation of the trailers, and if you want the explanation of all the where we've been the last little bit. If you are upset that it's not in this video, I'm telling you, go watch our Aladdin review.
Why aren't you watching more of a content?
Just watch the first 2 minutes, and you'll get why we were behind.
You should watch the whole video.
So now let's get into it. Godzilla, King of the Monsters, one of the most anticipated movies of the year for me. I was hyped. But now we go to Kyle. What'd you think? Non-spoiler of Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
It's a good watch. Yeah, I mean, I think myself included, everyone's basically wanting to see, Godzilla battle some kaijus. Like, we only saw that in the 5 years ago in 2014's Godzilla. We only saw him battle, maybe one other monster, and that was, it worked fine, but we want more of that, and we definitely get more of that in this movie. And they are some really great action sequences when it comes to the Godzilla and kaiju fights. They're large in scope, they're very detailed, and there's some beautiful shots too. Some of the shots might be lighted a bit dark, or they're kind of a bit jarring just based on cinematography, maybe. But I think for the most part, they all worked really well, and you feel like you're almost in the action the whole time whenever they're battling. And I think that's what people are going to want and what they're going to get out of this. They're going to be getting these larger-than-life action battles between all these kaiju monsters, and it's definitely going to deliver on that. That's definitely my biggest takeaway, anyway.
I very much enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a great time. I'm not only a sucker for big monsters fighting, I'm also a sucker for disaster in general, watching the human race suffer. I really enjoyed it. The best part of this movie, and we'll get into a little bit of this in our negatives, because I know what your negative is probably going to be, and I know what most of the internet's negative is, and that's the humans. And I gotta tell you, the amount of time there's really not a lot of human to human talking where they're at least not in front of a cool monster.
Oh, yeah.
There's always a cool monster to look at. There's always this cool new design, this new creature, and that's what I love.
Really good.
That's what made the humans work for me, because it wasn't Aaron Taylor Johnson, as much as I love him, it wasn't him for a half hour, an hour and a half, and then we get Godzilla.
Yeah.
This was every time a human was talking, except for a few maybe quick scenes, there was some sort of monster on screen, and I loved it. And I absolutely dug it. The cast was great. It's goofy. It's fun. The battles are epic. Godzilla is epic. The only thing I'll say is Godzilla is this. Now, bear with me. He won't, but bear with me. If you have ever played Call of Duty, any of those first-person shooter games, there's always the one guy who's the best. He's the best, but he always dies the most. That's Godzilla. When you see the movie, you'll understand what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
The crew's got to back him up. You'll understand. Not a spoiler, I promise, but just go check out the film. But yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. Godzilla, the monsters looked awesome. The way the battles were incredible. It was just, I really dug it. I really, really liked it. I had a great time in the theater. Kyle, what is your negative?
Well, it's like you said, it is the people, but bear with me. I know it's a Godzilla movie. The people are important. I get it. I actually didn't mind the characters. I actually liked all the actors involved in this movie, and I actually liked how they were portraying their characters. Like, that stuff and their storylines, that actually didn't bother me. What was bothering me about the people was that they were really making the movie drag on longer than it needed to happen. They were doing a lot of exposition dumps. Again, it well needed. It's fine. That's all fine, but it's just overextends itself to where it becomes unnecessary. The actions that they take to keep the plot moving when it isn't a Godzilla fight, that was taking too long for me. So I think as long as you just condense the characters' banter between each other, condense their own standalone action moments, so that way we can get to more of the Godzillas and monsters fighting each other, because that's really what we're there for. This movie would have been a lot more enjoyable for me. Again, humans don't matter for these people. I understand, myself included. I thought the characters were fine, but it's just the actions and how long they were taking to do from point A to point B. That stuff was what was bothering me. So I guess it's also a matter of the pacing issue for myself personally. But yeah, I think people are gonna get what they want, especially Alex. They're gonna get the monsters fighting, and it is really cool to watch.
I don't know. You can't go into these. There's always gonna be exposition dumps in these movies. We need them.
No,
and the
I
scientists need to say it out loud to figure out how to kill the kaiju.
It's just it overstayed its welcome after a while. It just became too long of exposition dumps.
I'm gonna say this quote, and I'm not gonna say who said it. It is an entertainer. If you know who I'm talking about, put it in the comments below. I want to see how many of you get it. But I heard recently a creator who writes in Hollywood, who has developed TV shows and films in Hollywood, said something where he said, a little bit of hint there, he said, if it's just battle, at some point it's going to get boring. And when I heard that, the more I've thought about it, the more I've been like, all right, and I think it applies to Godzilla. If we don't have some we don't have some sort of dopey characters, I would have been bored out of my mind. I didn't think it dragged because every time the humans talked, I was looking at a new monster that was cool. But had it just been monsters fighting for an hour and a half, I would have gotten bored. I probably would have gotten bored because at some point you're like, okay. You know, I always think of that Family Guy episode, the famous Family Guy episode where Peter fights the chicken forever. That gets boring. That gets boring after about 6 minutes. You get bored after about 6 minutes, and the more I've thought about it, I think that is really true. Whether they're good character writing or if it's not the best, because I do think that is a nitpick. It's not the best. For me as a disaster movie lover, it works for me because I like the cheesiness, I like the dopiness. But no, it isn't written great for those humans because we are here for the monsters. But if you take the humans out, I do think people will go, this movie really dragged. I got really bored of watching. Like, how long does a big monster fight really, like, we can't watch that for an hour and a half. You really can't watch it. And Transformers, little different, because people are all over the internet are comparing this to Transformers. Transformers is different because at least...
Big difference.
At least those are sentient robots. They could carry a story on their own.
Yeah.
I love Godzilla. He can't carry a story on his own. I truly believe that. And that's why these movies are so fun. You go in for the dopiness, the cheesiness, the action, the monsters. And the problem with the 2000... And I like the 2014 one. But the biggest problem is... It's too much human, not enough monster. For me, this was plenty. I mean, I would have loved more monster, but I got the human parts that it took me back, and refreshed myself throughout the film, which works for me because I need one of those dopey lines. I need one of those cheesy lines to keep me going. And then when the last 20 minutes happens, and it's 20 minutes of straight battles, or the battles throughout the film, because there's a lot in this one, then I'm like, all right, dope. And then the second it ends, it's like, yeah! And then it's back to humans saying cheesy things, and it works. So, yeah, it went from negatives to positives again, but those are my thoughts. Kyle, any final thoughts?
No, if you got, again, the monsters are cool, the fights are cool, and that's what you'll be able to get. You should
go check this one out. Did it underperform in the U.S. compared to expectations? Apparently so. Has it killed overseas? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, guys, please go check this one out in the theater. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment as well down below. And as always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.